Hello, and welcome to Wake Up and Raw. My name is Sally, and I'm here to speak about waking up, staying awake, and realizing freedom from your conditioned self. What is a conditioned self? Well, we're born without it, all of us. When we're a newborn baby, we don't have a conditioned self. Have you ever looked into the eyes of a baby? What you'll see there is pure sunshine, sparkle, joy. Um, they might cry if they're hungry or tired or got a sore tummy, but they don't begrudge their parents for coming late with the feeding. The moment they've got their needs met, there's just this sunshine back again, instant love, an open heart, and um, their bodies are relaxed. They're just so open and relaxed. And they also have incredible presence. They have this depth. If you look into the eyes, they'll look right back in as if they're looking into your soul, and they don't have that embarrassment that we have of gazing too long into someone's eyes. They'll really see you, and they don't have any masks. They don't pretend. They just are exactly as they are. There's no fake smiles happening in a baby. They are true authenticity. Well, guess what? You were one once. We all were. So we might have forgotten what it's like to be like that, but when we were young, for at least those first 18 months or so, we were that. But we forget. We have forgotten what it's like to be that. So how did it happen that we came to be so different from that baby self? Around the age of 18, babies, they start to develop self-consciousness. They start to become aware of their environment around them. They start to become aware of their power to manipulate their environment, objects around them, and people around them. They become aware of cause and effect. If I do this, then that happens. And so slowly but surely, we start to modify our behavior. Why? So we can get acceptance, so we can feel safe, so we can be loved. And this ability is purely human, this ability to change our behavior and make that choice to leave the pure one and turn into something quite different than that original self. And that's become normal. That is normal in our world, in our society, to do that. Most of us did that. Not everybody. I think some people are born with a very evolved soul. It's rare, but there are those who are born free and never take on a conditioned self. They're usually called saints or sages, masters of truth. Some teachers, people who are masters, they did develop a conditioned self and they found their way out of it later. And then there's those rare ones that didn't even build that. But for most of us, a conditioned self is the way of the world. It's normal. It's what we all do. It's what we all know. Everyone around us has one and behaves in this way that is pretty contracted. It's cut off from that authenticity. It's a self made of control, made of want and need and lack. And it's based on this core fear of social rejection. And so everything that we become about is about performing or doing to win that acceptance, that approval, whether it starts with our parents and then it goes on to our peers, to our teachers. very, it starts subtly and it can be very unconscious. It can be just what we do. Mostly we are unconscious of this behavior that is reaching for something that it wants all the time. And very quickly we learn to smile in a way that's not authentic. We're told when we're kids, smile for the camera, smile for mommy, smile for granny. Why aren't you smiling? She's come all the way to visit you. And so we're taught first by our parents and the adults around us that we need to present as happy. And if we don't, bad things happen. People reject us, people scold us. And so we develop this way of behaving that's happy. And so becomes this world that's kind of hiding behind a mask of happiness. Or some people get so stuck in other things like anxiety or fear, they can't even fake the happiness. They're just stuck in that anger or fear or anxiety, sometimes a trauma state. So either way, whether it's a happy conditioned self or an unhappy one, it's a conditioned self. And it's like a sun. It's like we are the sun, and the sun has been covered up. And what we all want is to return to being that sunshine that we were when we were a baby. That radiant self, that original self, that authentic self. So how do we do that? How do we return to that original self? First, we need to see the conditioned self for what it is. We need to separate and get distance from that me that we are familiar with, that we're used to being, that normal me. We need a little bit of distance so that we can start to observe it, witness it. When we have an awakening, what's called a spiritual awakening, that's what happens. We suddenly are thrust into a different perspective. We start to witness a part of ourself that somehow isn't it. It doesn't belong. It's strange. It's not authentic. And the one that's witnessing, it's something that, if it's your first awakening, or if it's just slowly coming into your awareness in little glimpses, it's like you start to be aware of an other you, a you that is different from the you that you're used to. And as you get that separation and you step into that witness, that big self that is witnessing this other conditioned self, you immediately start to sense a state of relaxation, of ease, it's relief. It's such a relief to be freed of that conditioned self, even if it's just for a few minutes. It's like, there's a feeling of unburdening and relaxing and opening, and you start to feel an expanded form of love, not the conditioned love. That's a whole other subject, but expanded, real, authentic love, and you start to come into the wisdom and knowledge that other you has. So this observer, this witness, it's like a parent. There's many metaphors. We use the world of metaphors. Some use watching yourself as if it's on a TV screen and sitting and watching. I like the metaphor of the parent and the child. So if you imagine the child is the conditioned self, and the parent is there watching it. It's there through all of its development. It's watching it when it's this pure, beautiful baby, And then it's watching it at 18 months old or so start to change, start to develop this self that's very much oriented around achieving something. And this parent, let's imagine it's an ideal parent. It's like a parent full of love, full of compassion, full of empathy, no judgment of this child. It's conditional love, and it's present, and it's just observing. She's curious, or he, whether the parent in you is a man or a mother or a father. The parent is curious, and it's simply just observing and not needing to change anything, just there, watching it all. And the parent sees all the stages of development from infant to toddler to teenager to adult. It's observing the mechanics, the dynamics, the behavior changes, how this child starts to care so much about what other people think, or care about what it wants so badly. It can start with wanting a toy, and its friend takes a toy away from him, and next thing it's angry and upset. And then when we're little, we want small things, but as we get older, we want more. We want popularity, we want affirmation, we want love, we want respect, we want acknowledgement, acceptance, approval. And that is the main reason we start to change our behavior. And then the parent is also witnessing how upset the child gets when it doesn't get what it wants. So it's reaching for what it wants, it's trying, it's striving, it's adapting, but it doesn't always work. And then comes anger, or shame, or resentment, humiliation, self-hatred. All these are qualities that the baby doesn't have. It's something that we start to develop. And we start to develop a very performance-oriented personality. We start to lie. We start to pretend. We start to develop a personality that is fake, because we realize that the adults around us want us to be a certain way, and so we try to become that. And it all happens unconsciously and becomes just the automatic self. So, what else can I say? Yeah, the heart, like the heart of a conditioned self, it's so quick to close. If you think of a baby, their heart is just wide open. I don't think even when they're crying for food that their heart is closing. No, they're just sending a signal for survival. But starting, as a young child, we start to learn to close our heart. We don't get what we want, we close our heart. Someone hurts us, we close our heart to protect from pain. And then to open our heart again becomes more and more difficult. We're slower to forgive. Children are so quick to forgive, but as we become this hardened, conditioned adult, some of us have a really hard time forgiving, and it depends on how deep the trauma is, or how strong your conditioning was around you. If you had angry, close-hearted parents, it's very typical that you will learn that and copy that. And happiness is a conditional thing. We're not just happy for the sake of being happy. We're happy because things are going our way. And then when they're not going our way, we get depressed, we get sad, we get upset, we get angry. Angry at whoever's not doing it our way, or we get angry at God or our parents. And we're also no longer living in the moment. Babies are just immersed in the now. We start to live for the future and the past, looking forward to the future. Oh, what's going to make me feel good in the future? Or dreading the future. Oh, I don't want that. I don't like the way that's going to feel. Dread, hope, um, an unintegrated kind of excitement where you're just living. You see it in our society. We live for Christmas, and then when Christmas is over, the store starts putting up things for Valentine's Day and then Easter, and it just goes like feeding us things to look forward to rather than just being in the moment. And then we also get obsessed with the past. We long for the past sometimes, or we dwell on regrets of the past, or we overthink things. I should have done it this way, I should have done it that way. Yeah, we forget how to live in the moment. And so the parent is just seeing all this, being with the child as it grows, watching, there, observing, not judging. And at some point, this parent might decide to reach out. If they sense a readiness, a ripeness, it might start to invite and woo the child back into its original self. It's there like a parent with open arms saying, come back, remember who you were? I knew you then. I was with you when you were radiant like a sun. Return, come. And then dawns the realization that that parent, that benevolent, loving, compassionate, non-judgmental observer, it's you. That's who you are. In fact, that's who you are more than the conditioned you that you're used to. When we're living inside the limitations of the conditioned self, we have no idea that there's this other self. We're completely cut off from our source, from where we came from. And the moment we have this glimpse or this awakening to the other, it's like, wow, I can't believe I didn't know this. I can't believe I'd forgotten this. This is all I want. Ultimately, these two become one. So when you're the witness, there's two of you. There's the one you're witnessing, and there's the witness. But when someone is truly integrated and truly embodying that self, that original self, the conditioned one slowly starts to become a part again. It stops from being separate and it becomes part of the whole. And as that happens, its behavior changes. Its behavior starts to return to authenticity. And this happens slowly over time. So like I said before, an awakening can happen in a split second and it can last for a few minutes. But what takes time is the integration of this awakening. The conditioned self is so strong that it's actually difficult to integrate the core self into the conditioned self. It's very strong. It's what this world is all about. It's what the people around us are doing. And so to break free of that takes time, and it takes sincere desire to be free. It takes a ripeness and a longing to do that over and above anything else. You have to care about it more than anything else. And it becomes your passion, your fire, and suddenly you find that you're on this journey of awakening. And the awakenings to that higher, deeper, bigger self that we are, it's multi-leveled and it's constant. you will always be seeing more. It's so expansive, it's so multi-leveled. There's always more and more to come into. And so you start to love that journey of discovery, of getting to know your core self. That becomes your passion in life. So how can you support this? Let's say you've had a glimpse, whether it was taking a workshop, on a retreat. Maybe you were lucky enough to be in the presence of a living teacher, a master of this, a master of truth that can, through transmission, give you a glimpse. For some, it just happened spontaneously. Maybe it happened when you were watching a beautiful musical concert. There's so many ways you can have a glimpse. Maybe through psychedelic drugs, maybe through something your priest said, or your spiritual leader, something you read in a book of inspiration. And so once you've got that glimpse, how do you bring it forward? How do you support it? So one way is to practice sitting and observing and witnessing. It really helps to take time outside of your busy life and maybe set aside half an hour every day, or however long you like. If every day is too much, start with once a week and increase. I think you'll start to find that this time is really nourishing. It's not about efforting. It's not even what I would call a meditation. It's simply sitting and witnessing and observing the mechanisms of yourself and trying to find that separation of your thoughts, your feelings, because most of the thoughts and feelings we're in are of that conditioned self. And so we want to observe them like clouds passing in front of the sun. So just imagine that you're the sun, that original baby self, but in an adult body. And you have all those qualities of the parent, the true parent, and the baby. And these thoughts and feelings are just like clouds passing. So just get to know the nature of them. Be curious, inquisitive. And you can do it in many places. You could sit in nature. You could do it when you're at church or at the temple, or doing Shavasana in the yoga studio. You can do it when you're on the toilet. We all have so much time on the toilet. Just spend your time doing that. Or when you're waiting at the dentist's office, take that time to just check in and going into this witness mode. Also, reading Holy Scripture or texts, books that have been written by people who have succeeded in this before. People like Christ, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, the prophets, the sages, Rumi, Ramana Maharshi, they all have teachings, writings. Some of them, there's videos, like with Papaji, you can watch videos of his satsangs. There's so many resources that you can enjoy to spark this curiosity, this awakening. I had a lot to say, so I have some notes. I'm a mind mapper, so I'll show you. My notes all look like this. It's a mind map. Helps me get clear, helps me get all my keywords down and clear what I want to say. It's a great tool for realizing the self as well. Anyway, I'll say more about that another day. So to finish off, another way to help yourself is to get coaching, one-on-one coaching. Find a coach who is on an awakening journey, who is passionate about freeing you from your conditioned self, a coach that is passionate about getting to know the core you, the authentic you, and that is the foundation of the coaching. And then from there, once that's established, once that connection to real you is established, from there you start to look at everything in your life, your relationships, your decisions, your work, your expressions. But first and foremost, it's really important to get in touch with that authentic you. And a really good coach can help you do that. Help you return. Help it have voice. In my sessions, I like to get to know the self. So I ask you questions like when you had a glimpse, or let's go into it now. If you're able to go into that authentic self easily, then I will take you there and I will ask you questions about what's it like, what's it feel like, how do you think when you're there, what are you aware of, what does your body feel like? And as you speak the qualities of the self, it starts to take form. And so that's a big part of my sessions, is bringing that out, calling it out, calling that core self out. And I use metaphor work because often metaphors are a bridge for us to find that other. It's a mysterious, magical self, and it can speak to us through metaphors. And then once we've established a connection with that self, then we start to look at the conditioned self. We start to unpack all its parts, all its mechanisms. We start calling the parts of you that are hiding in shadow out of shadow, bringing them forward to give voice, to share where it was in their childhood, in their development, that they started to shut down. And as you can see the mechanism of where you shut down, why you shut down, a wonderful healing starts to happen. And this conditioned self, this traumatized self, starts to relax and open and become like the core self. And so in time, they become one. And that is an integrated, embodied, real, authentic human being. So if you're interested in having a session with me like that, you can contact me at sessionswithsally7@gmail.com. It's written down below also in the chat, not the chat, the video description. And if you have any comments or questions, please put it in the chat below. It's always wonderful to hear what you think, what you feel about all that I've said. So that's it for today. Bye for now. See you next time.